Calcutta, midnight. Coming from the station, you enter the city over an empty Howrah Bridge. Calcutta. The name conjures images of the Black Hole, Mother Teresa, millions on the street, Kipling's City of Dreadful Night. But the night is cool and pleasant, and the city seems deserted. Driving down Strand Road, it takes a while to see, but they are there, the homeless, the sleepers. They've simply merged back into the darkness, become one with the rubble and the rubbish. Shadows in the night. Travellers who arrive late can usually find a bed in the YMCA on Charingi, one of those familiar arrangements left by the British. And the shower water is still the Ganges, still the water of India, bubbling from standpipes, rivulets, sewers beneath the city. Relief to us all, whether we have a roof tonight or not. Calcutta was the first British foundation here. It's India's largest city and her richest industrially and intellectually. Politically, it's dynamite. Calcutta led the struggle against the British and has often continued it against the Nehru dynasty as follows. Now, with a communist government, it's just as forceful in its dissent. One of the most crowded places on Earth, with 14 million people, Calcutta swelters in 100-degree heat in summer, in a foul climate. No wonder the prophets of doom keep expecting it to collapse into its own sewers in an orgy of plague and violence. But it's not happened. Chaotic and edgy, but vibrant and exciting, the city still manages to work. How orderly the rush hour commuters crossing the Howrah Bridge by tram and on foot, or over the Hooghly River on the crowded ferry. How patiently, too, the people on the street go about their daily rituals. Careful observances of the villagers have been brought into the city, but despite their poverty, they have retained that graceful discipline of personal life. Even here, beneath the seeming chaos, there is an order and a dignity. Calcutta takes its name from Kali the Terrible, Shiva's consort, a primeval mother force on pilgrim souvenirs, Kali stares, tongue dripping blood. The British may have fathered the city at night, but Calcutta's dark mother is Kali, and her temple is at Kalighat.
And it is very near from the Ganges, and you will have to go by from this way temple, so you will have to go the south near the rail bridge, and then you will have to turn right near the Ganges, then you will see the Sadhu Characharan Road, and there is a temple also there, Kali temple also over there.
Thank you very much.
And Shiva temple also.
Are you a native of this place?
Oh yes, yes.
Were you born here?
Oh yes, yes, I born this place. Not only me, my father, my mother, they also born in this place. We are here last 100 years. And we are generation by generation. We are the priests of the temple.
Oh, you're the priest. This is the priest of the temple.
Yeah. And every priest, they have got a holy face, and this is a symbol of the holy face. This is a symbol of the holy.
Is it possible for me to go into the temple?
Yes, you can go. You follow him. He will show you inside the temple whatever is supposed to see there.
Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Worshipped by the 60 million people of West Bengal, Kali was a minor underworld goddess of prostitutes and bandits until the British came. Then she grew fast in popularity. This temple was built in 1809 with lavish gifts from devotees.
Yes. Kali temple, one of the biggest temple in Bengal. Yes.
And how many people come here? Many thousands?
Yes.
As always, gods rise and fall according to the needs of the time. Famine, disease, prosperity, even now TV and cinema can turn unknown gods into stars.
In the night as well.
Yeah, Kali.
Around Kali's shrine, you can see lesser gods from the villages who have gathered to serve the swelling population of the city. The smallpox goddess, the snake goddess, Manasa, who gives fertility and childbirth.
Now, what is...
Yeah, the baby. Thanks.
What snake?
Sunny. Baby.
What
Manta.
What women come here for?
Yes.
To ask for babies? Or?
Yes.
And they come and they thank the snake goddess when they've had babies.
So perhaps the rise of Mother Kali herself was a first reaction by Mother India to the impact of the West, retreating to the past for fear of the present. Then Kali demanded blood sacrifice, life for life. She still does. There's a little ashram nearby where a guru lives, an ex-merchant seaman to whom the local people go for help and advice. Like many of his age, he's nostalgic for the days of British rule, for becoming independent is often a painful process as we open up the past and come to terms with what lies inside.
Just looking back at your youth, Shastri Baba, seeing that you've been to England and all that, what do you think the British left to India?
Oh, it was very nice life. It was very, very good life.
Are you serious?
Yes. Seriously, I'm saying it.
In what way?
Yes. We were better. We were much better than now.
In
We
what
were
way?
much better than now.
In what
Because
way?
there was discipline. Now there is no discipline. Discipline, the word, has gone from the dictionary of India. In our boyhood, we used to go to temple, we used to go to puja mandal, every religious work we used to do. But nowadays, our people, our children, they forget that. They used to go cinema, they used to go video, they used to go TV. They have forgive and forget God. So by and by, next generation coming, maybe it will destroy it.
So
At least,
you are pessimistic about the future.
oh yes, I'm very fear the future because one great destroy is coming. Great earthquake or flood, like this, natural disturbance is coming. It's very wide. Not in small, it is a very, with a vast land, it will be destroyed. Because we forgive God.
I can't see India forgetting God just yet, but Shastri Baba's life spans most of this century, so he can be forgiven for feeling the pace of recent change. And life still has its pleasures.
What about the other things? I mean, I've just been seeing cricket on every
Oh,
television
everything,
station. Do you like cricket?
Oh yes, everything was very jolly. Everything was very happy.
You make it sound like a golden age.
Yes, golden age.
So do you go and watch cricket?
Oh yes. I can play still now. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What, are you a batsman or a bowler? Shastri
Oh,
Baba?
I was all-rounder. So bowler and batsman. Both.
The Ashram doesn't have
I
a
used
cricket
to-
team, though, does it?
I used to play in South Calcutta Club. Still now there.
How typical of Indians that they should fall in love with a game of impenetrable rules which can last for days and end with no winner. But the British left their mark in a deeper way on the streets of India. 40 years ago, they bequeathed her the ideal of a unified state where there never was one before, a secular state. They left her the Western concept of individual freedom and the rule of law, before which the rickshaw man and the Rajah should be equal, a secular law. But the Hindu law of life, Dharma, is based on very different ideas, though no less valid, collective ones of caste, family, religion, which have sustained people even in the grinding poverty of the streets, to death and beyond. But for us in the West, there's only one life, and death is the end of it. The old British cemetery in Park Street, in the heart of Calcutta, opened in 1767. Its great pyramids and obelisks now stained black by the relentless climate. So self-important we British, weren't we? In death as in life. Here are our caste marks. Thackeray's father, sons of Captain Cook and Charles Dickens. Did we come out to India so confident in our God, our law, our idea of time and progress? How young they were, so many of our ancestors who died in Calcutta's malarial heat. I wonder if their experience of India left them still sure to the end, that ours was the right and only way. Perhaps we never really understood the Indians' assertion that the one and the many are the same, part of a single unceasing stream, and that material things pass away, like the ashes and marigolds on the Hooghly River.
দেশের খবর বিদেশের খবর আজকাল বইমেলা বিশেষ সংখ্যা আজকাল বইমেলা
And so, the further you get into India, the more perplexing it gets. But Calcutta is a wonderful place to be perplexed in. The city is the center of political and cultural debate in India. Its bars and coffee houses resound with the cut and thrust of controversy, and they're as likely to throw Shelley at you as Vivekananda or Tagore. So I made a date that night with three wise heads, and we all got there despite a demonstration and the Bengali jokes about power cuts and telephones. We met at Tripti's bar over the fruit market. There was Hamdi, a famous Bengali journalist and translator, 50 years in newspapers. Deepak's at the university, and Jyoti at the back is a writer, poet, incorrigible romantic, and unrepentant Anglophile. And as they say in Bengal, what Calcutta thinks today, the rest of India thinks tomorrow.
I would say that the political structure is certainly crumbling down. You find some very great changes already come over in the past 3 or 4 years. The federalistic structure is certainly about to collapse. In Punjab, in the south, in the east, the so-called Indian Union is breaking up, and I delight in the idea of breaking up. Yes, I would celebrate when the Indian state dissolves. Number 2, I see very great and rapid changes taking over. Not brought about by the government, not brought about by the intellectuals. It is from the bottom, and from by the, 10 years ago, very few people would have even believed that it was possible for somebody mending shoes under the shade of the tree at the corner of the street. Even voting. Now he's not just voting,
he has a transistor by his side. And maybe even in his trophy, even in his heart, he has got a TV set.
It is basically the esotericism of the people. A very, very deeply rooted esoteric language of life. And a very, very deeply rooted, which not only, as Hamdi says, that not only people who are indoctrinated or influenced by newer ideas and they are moving away from religion, but one has to understand that the marginal people in India, the people who really are at the bottom, they also don't give a shit about, about the religious dogma. It's a very common view, especially in the West, to see India so besotted by religion, if you like, the opium of the people, that change is impossible, especially from the bottom. Now, Jyoti, what do you think about that?
This is my speculation, that like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, India will be the least religious place in the world 10 years or 15 years from now.
I don't believe it.
I shall bring it about. All this nonsense about religion and old myths and old ethics training down the people was just a kind of people reading a timetable at a railway waiting station. We've been waiting for the express train to arrive, for the change to come.
And but has the change come, Jyoti?
It will.
Yes, but where are the signs? Where are the signs? Are there as well?
The signs are in the mind. The signs are not out there.
But in whose mind, Jyoti? I keep travelling through the countryside. I find it almost impossible to believe that there's been a real change among, for the better, for the mass of the ordinary people of India over the last 4 years.
Have that much time.
You have noticed. Explain the nature of the change.
Now look at the slow rhythm of the so-called pastoral India. First of all, look at that. And look at the city rhythm. Look, we have got the metro rhythm. We have got all these things. We have got all these go fast and run and walk and all these things. But just go about 15 minutes inside Park Street or somewhere and see how people walk.
We are talking comedy. Absolute nonsense. It's not just the metro rail or Rajiv Gandhi's new technology, the harbinger.
Of course not. I'm talking about the way people are taking it easy and moving slow.
Yes. Why are they slowing down? Because like a jumper before the leap. Like the egg.
To tell the truth, we were all slowing down by then, because we'd had so much cheap rum. But Hamdi brought us back with a sobering thought. Money.
The point is this, up to now, people in India had no money, no cash. Now they have cash that they can spend on things. And therefore, for the first time, they are enjoying the pleasures of a material life.
The pleasures of a material life. How ambiguous that phrase sounded here in Calcutta. After the bar closed, I went down to the old cobbled street of Nimtola by the Hooghly River, where the dead are buried and the tea stalls stay open all night. There the street people make their beds along the road, melting once more back into the darkness after the long hot day. No one knows how many, but there are millions. Landless peasants fleeing from feudal oppression in Bihar, poor tribals from Orissa, their ancestral forests felled for profit. All drawn to the city of night by the promise not of the pleasures of the material life, but just to raise themselves a little, maybe only to survive. The Hindu scriptures say that we're in the last age of our time, the Kali Yuga, the age of ignorance and arrogance, when the pursuit of power and material gain will lead to the destruction of life. They say there will be an apocalyptic fire and flood, and in the end it will be the last incarnation of Vishnu, Kalki, who will come on his horse and purge away the evils of our age.